Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about the event system in Unity. So when we right clicked last episode and added a canvas, we saw that the event system was automatically dragged into the hierarchy. But what actually is the event system? So if we click on it here, we've got a bunch of different things. We're not going to worry about the standalone input module today. This is to do with inputs and things, which we're just going to leave this for now because it gets a bit advanced. Input system's sort of a different thing. It can't really be covered in this video because it covers a lot. There's quite a lot to the input systems. You've got the new input system, the old input system. They sort of require their own little mini sets of videos to cover everything. So we're going to leave that for now. If anyone wants a little series on the input systems, let me know. We can probably make it work. But for now, we're going to focus on the event system. So just to leave the input module, that'll update anyway. If you change your input system, it'll all get updated. So first of all, the event system, what is it? It is what it's called. It's basically the system of events. It manages all the events, so mouse clicks, things like that. So if a UI element is clicked, the event system is what is dealing with the event. So first selected, this just specifies which user interface element should be initially selected when appearing on the canvas. So if we create let's create two buttons. Going to create one button here. Ignore all this because we've not covered Text Mesh Pro yet. We're going to get to that. So we've got a button here and we're going to duplicate it and put a button down here. And if we hit play, you're going to see that both of these buttons just stay white. If a button is selected, it changes to a darker color. If we now go to the event system and change the first selected to button 1, the bottom one is going to start by being selected when we run the game. You'll see it's a slightly different color. You can see sort of when we hover over it, it fades. If I just make it a completely different color to be obvious, so selected color, I'm going to just put to red. And same with the first button as well. And now as we press play, the bottom button should be red because it's selected by default. And obviously I've just clicked off of it, but you can see that by default it starts being it's first selected, that's quite simple. That's all the first selected is. It's just when you first load the canvas, what element do you want to be selected, if any. Next you've got send navigation events. This is just a true or false value, which basically it says should the system allow navigation events. So that is things such as moving, submitting, cancelling. Most of the time you're going to have this on, but if you've got something where you don't want navigation events, then you can disable them. Of course, by navigation events we're talking about user interface navigation and things like that. We're not talking about like character navigation, 3D navigation. That's a different sort of thing. That's dealing more with the input of a character and the player movement, if that makes sense. Character movement. This is purely for the user interface. The drag threshold, this is basically the soft area for dragging in pixels. So if the higher you have this, the higher the sort of soft area is going to be. If you're dragging an object, I don't really play around with this because I don't really have to. But if you've got objects where you need to drag them and things like that, obviously the higher the number, the greater the threshold. So there's going to be more sort of leeway. That's all there really is to the event system. There's not really too much to say. If there's one thing you need to take away from this video, it is that the event system is what captures events. So mouse clicks, things like that. The event system is what deals with these. If you don't have an event system, so say we have buttons, let's get our two buttons back. If we don't have an event system, you're going to notice we can't click the buttons, we can't do anything with them because we have no way of detecting mouse clicks. So basically the event system is just a way of detecting inputs from the user. So I hope this video helped everyone. It was quite basic. I know I didn't really go into much detail, much explaining, but there's not much to talk about with the event system. First selected, that's quite straightforward for what element is selected. Navigation events, do you want to send navigation events, so like moving, submitting, things like that. Do you want to send them or not? Pretty straightforward. And drag threshold, that's a bit more like that's playing around. That's sort of something you have to play around with yourself to discover. You can't really demonstrate it with words. Obviously it's going to be different you've got to adjust it to your liking for your project, for whatever you're game is, whatever, that's not something that you can give a set value on and be like, yes, this works universally for everyone. I tend to keep mine at 10. I think it used to be 5, but it's been changed to 10. I just leave it as that. I've never had to deal with that anyway. But if you've got something where you might have to play around with that, you just play around with the values and see what creates the best effect for you. So everyone, I hope you found this video helpful. Please leave a like if you did and consider subscribing. I'll see you in the next video, where we are actually going to cover images and raw images. So that's going to be a good one. So I'll see you then. Thanks for watching and goodbye everyone.